Imagine walking into a bar full of laughter, music, and people blowing off steam after a long week, and somehow never being seen again. Not because you ran away, not because you were hiding, but because, in a place filled with witnesses and covered in cameras, you simply vanish, as if you were erased from the world without leaving a single trace behind. That's the reality of the last moments ever captured of Brian Shaffer, a 27-year-old medical student. Smiling as he rides an escalator up to the Ugly Tuna Saloona. He has no idea that the grainy footage recorded that night will become the centerpiece of one of the most haunting, mind-bending mysteries in modern true crime. A mystery that has broken a family, baffled investigators, and left the world asking the same impossible question. How does someone walk into a bar and never walk out? Brian was the kind of person people liked instantly warm, funny, supportive, but 3 weeks before that night, his world had been shattered. He had just lost his mother, someone he was deeply close to, and the grief was still raw, heavy, and impossible to escape. His friends didn't want to see him suffer alone, so on March 31st, 2006, they convinced him to go out, have a few drinks, take a break from the pain, even if only for a few hours. It was supposed to be a normal night. Nothing strange, nothing alarming. The group hopped from one bar to another until they eventually ended up at the Ugly Tuna Saloona. Popular college hangout filled with bright neon lights, loud music, and cameras watching every entrance and exit. At 1:15 a.m., the security footage shows Brian riding up the escalator, laughing, relaxed, looking completely fine. There is no hint, no clue in his expression that he is moments away from becoming part of an unsolved mystery that has lasted for nearly 20 years. Inside, Brian drinks, talks with friends, mingles with the crowd. Everything about his behavior seems normal. And then, he disappears. But not in a way that makes sense. Not in a way you could chalk up to confusion, or alcohol, or a bad decision. Brian doesn't walk out on camera. He isn't seen slipping through the crowd. He doesn't leave with anyone. He doesn't get picked up by a blind spot. No camera captures him exiting the bar, and that should be impossible, because the Ugly Tuna had one public entrance and one public exit. Both of them were under constant surveillance. The first theory was that he escaped out a back door, but that door didn't lead to the street. It led to a hazardous construction site, dark, uneven, full of holes, debris, and equipment. Navigating that area sober would have been difficult. Doing it without making noise, leaving footprints, or being found by search teams, nearly impossible. Police brought in dogs, search teams, equipment, everything they could. They combed the area from top to bottom. They found nothing. No shoe, no clothing, no blood, no sign of a struggle. Nothing at all. Then people wondered if Brian had chosen to disappear. Maybe he wanted to start over. Maybe the grief was too much. Maybe he just walked away from everything, but that theory fell apart at the moment. Investigators entered his apartment and found two important things waiting for him on his desk. A pair of plane tickets for a romantic trip he already had planned, and a small velvet box holding an engagement ring. You don't schedule a trip with the woman you love and buy a ring to ask her to marry you if you're planning to vanish forever. Those are not the actions of a man trying to escape life. Those are the actions of a man preparing for a future. His girlfriend said he was excited about what was ahead. He talked about finishing med school, starting a family, traveling, living. And then, he was gone. His bank account never moved again. His phone stayed silent. His apartment remained untouched. He didn't leave a message, didn't call anyone, didn't reach out. There was no goodbye, no clue, no trace. 2 years later, hope flickered for just a moment when someone posted a message signed Brian Shaffer on an online memorial page dedicated to his father, who had recently passed away. For a split second, people believed it might really be him. Maybe he had surfaced. Maybe the nightmare was over. But the police traced the IP address. It wasn't Brian. It was a heartless prank by someone who thought a family's grief was entertainment. Over the years, detectives have gone back to the Ugly Tuna footage again and again, frame by frame, second by second, looking for anything that could explain what happened. But the truth is, the footage doesn't behave like normal evidence. The case doesn't behave like a normal disappearance. There are no witnesses, no physical clues, no confirmed sightings, no reason for him to vanish, and no footage showing him leaving the one place he was last seen alive. By the way, if you've stayed with me through this story so far, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It helps us keep bringing deep, detailed cases like this one, and your support truly makes a difference. So now the question remains, what really happened inside that bar? Did Brian meet someone that night? Did he stumble into a restricted area? Did he take a route that no one knew about? Or did something darker happen behind the scenes? Something that no camera, no witness, and no investigation has been able to reveal. To this day, the case remains open, unsolved, and deeply unsettling. Brian Shaffer didn't just disappear. He vanished from a place where disappearing should have been impossible. His story is a puzzle with its most important piece missing. A question without an answer. A shadow that still lingers over one of the strangest mysteries in modern American true crime. Until the truth finally surfaces, whatever that truth, maybe the disappearance of Brian Shaffer, will continue to haunt anyone who dares to take a closer look. Thank you for watching. And if you want more stories told in this style, make sure to subscribe and comment below which mystery you want me to cover next.